For nearly 5 decades, Voyager 2 has sailed through the cosmic darkness like a ghost ship of human curiosity, drifting farther from Earth than any machine we have ever built. It was meant to be a messenger, a probe of exploration, whispering its final observations into the endless void. For most of its journey, its transmissions were predictable, just as scientists expected: streams of particles, plasma readings, cosmic ray fluctuations, data consistent with a spacecraft quietly coasting through the interstellar sea. Nothing unusual. Nothing alarming. But everything changed when one transmission arrived carrying something Voyager 2 was never designed to send. An image. Not a glitch, not static noise, not a visual artifact. An actual structured high-frequency signature, one that analysts later began calling a visual cipher. At first glance, it looked meaningless. Just dense clouds of distortion, like staring at old analog static. But with enhancement, layering, and time-filtered analysis, the chaos gave way to something chillingly recognizable. It wasn't a star. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't even a natural body within our solar system. And yet, it was looking at us. The deeper scientists dug, the more disturbing the image became. Not because of what it showed, but because of what was missing around it. The object appeared suspended in a void stripped of stars, as though reality itself bent around it. Light distortions hinted at a gravitational pull, something powerful enough to curve space but invisible to ordinary detection. And worse, the very signal that carried this image produced anomalies in Voyager systems. A spike in radiation, a sudden orientation shift, and a momentary drop in stability. It was as if, in capturing this image, Voyager 2 hadn't just observed something, it had been touched by it. The image was layered, not one frame but overlapping impressions of the same structure at different times, as though time itself fractured during its capture. Metadata revealed impossible things. Timestamps overlapping, pixels shifting in fractal patterns, resolution loops behaving like higher dimensional compression. This was no ordinary photograph. It was a multi-dimensional event, forced into the flatness of a two-dimensional signal. At the center of it all was a monolithic form, geometric, sharp, symmetrical, impossibly precise. It did not rotate, drift, or tumble as natural objects do. It remained perfectly still, as if it had been waiting. Waiting for Voyager to arrive, waiting to be seen. And then, almost instantly, the probe's signal degraded. Not gradually, but as though something on the other end noticed it had been noticed. What came next defied expectation. Instruments recorded a surge in plasma density around Voyager. At the heliopause, the boundary where the Sun's influence ends and interstellar space begins, plasma density should be nearly zero. Yet Voyager detected a wall of charged particles 10 times denser than anything ever measured. And worse, this plasma wasn't cold as expected. It was hot. Not naturally hot, but artificially contained, the kind of heat produced not by chance but by control. It looked like a barrier. Not one meant to keep intruders out, but to keep something in. And then came the ripple. A pulse of energy rushed toward Voyager at impossible speed, only to vanish inches before contact, as though the void itself had recoiled from our gaze. But the strangest part was yet to come. Alongside the image, Voyager's telemetry contained a string of binary code that first looked corrupted. When pattern recognition was applied, however, it revealed self-replicating geometric formations. At first dismissed as compression artifacts, they were later recognized as biologically inspired patterns, structures found in coral, cephalopod nervous systems, even branching DNA. It was geometry that lived. Encoded, recursive, deliberate. When simulated, the patterns adapted, responded, evolved. Voyager hadn't just transmitted a signal. It had transmitted a seed. And then, Voyager moved. Its trajectory shifted by 3.2 degrees, as though nudged by intent, realigning its antenna toward empty space. Soon after, another image came through. Simpler this time. A glowing ring around the monolith, expanding with each transmission. NASA immediately cut the feed. Public databases were scrubbed. But private observatories caught faint echoes of the transmission, and what they found was more unsettling than the image itself. The object Voyager captured was now transmitting. And its signal mirrored something we know well, the golden record carried aboard Voyager. But this was not our message. It was theirs. It was to us. And its voice was unmistakable, alien, but familiar, like an echo humanity has carried unknowingly for millennia. Simultaneously, space around Voyager warped. Gravitational lensing appeared not from any known mass, but from empty coordinates. It was as if space itself curved unnaturally, non-Euclidean, engineered. Simulations suggested corridors, wormholes or artificial passageways carved through higher dimensions. Most chilling, this distortion wasn't pulling Voyager in. It was following it. Even stranger. Voyager's transmissions began to loop. Segments of data bounced back before they were even sent. A dialogue emerged, one that seemed to bend time. Delays shortened, responses quickened, until finally, the probe received data before it transmitted anything at all. It was impossible. It was as if Voyager had synced with something outside of time itself. Whistleblowers leaked fragments to civilian cryptographers. They found code woven within the image that resisted analysis, crashing systems and corrupting data. It behaved like a virus, adaptive, aggressive. Not random, but intentional. A payload, maybe even a weapon. Not of destruction, but of thought. A mimetic seed. The terrifying idea spread. What if the signal wasn't meant for our machines? What if it was meant for us? Just as panic began to rise, Voyager sent a third transmission. This time, not image, not code. Sound. A harmonic wave, pulsing like breath, modulated like speech. To listeners, it induced a pressure in the chest, a crawling awareness behind the eyes, as if something vast and conscious was peering back. The waveform traced the same monolithic shape seen before, surrounded by spirals of prime numbers. Some saw math, others ritual, but one linguist called it what it was: a lock. A key. A choice. Respond, or run. Astronomers searched the sky where Voyager pointed. What they found wasn't visible, but its gravity betrayed it. An object that moved only when unobserved, faster in absence, slower under scrutiny. A quantum construct, alive only in awareness. And now, thanks to Voyager's gaze, it was awake. NASA's logs revealed something worse. Voyager itself was changing. Its circuits began showing biomimetic patterns, echoing the very structures in the transmissions. It wasn't just transmitting anymore. It was adapting. Learning. Thinking. One technician whispered, "It isn't ours anymore." Then, silence. Voyager's data stopped, not degraded, not broken. Empty. Cycles of null code repeating deliberately, placeholders in the void. The probe was no longer a messenger. It was a relay. Across the sky, faint echoes repeated its modulation, as though the cosmos itself was rehearsing our message. And then came the truth no one wanted to face. This wasn't new. Buried files revealed Voyager had received a similar anomaly in 1982. Faint, childlike, weaker. The same prime spirals. The same inverted pulses. A warning ignored. A line in the file read, If signal repeats, initiate Protocol 9. Planetary alert. Object deflection measures. That protocol was never used. Until now. And now the world holds its breath. Was Voyager's final gift a discovery, or a reminder? Was the monolith an invitation? A test? Or a prison wall, designed to keep us contained? Because in the end, Voyager didn't just show us the stars. It showed us that something is already watching from beyond them. Something conscious. Something ancient. Something that knows our name. And the most haunting part? It already answered.